What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, new and returning overseas in America. So, today I want to do something that I have never done on this channel. I want to do a story time. This dropped in my spirit, and I have a story I want to tell about a story that my grandmother um, who was the local root woman or root worker. She was the hoodoo lady. Um, a story that she told me when I was young. Okay. This video will go out early access to the Geechee Gang, and then I will make it public. Okay. So y'all vibe with me a little bit. I'm gonna try not to be long-winded. But it's just a testament to where I come from, our culture, and their beliefs. And so I share this story with you in honor of Hoodoo Heritage Month. So when I was a little girl, I used to spend weekends and parts of the summer and the holiday breaks with my dad's side of the family. And so I was always with my grandmother. And my grandmother and I have always been very close, okay? And so she used to always tell us these stories, all right? And so one day she was telling me how, well, she woke up that morning um, and she was kind of in a mood. She was kind of agitated. Um, And like, Grandma, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And so she began to tell the story of how this hag tried to ride her the night before. And she wrestled with this hag. She fought with this spirit, right? She was in spiritual warfare the night before. And, she's fighting with this spirit, and she threw the spirit up against the wall and then threw like the lamp or something, hit the spirit, whatever. And so she said the first person that walks through that door this morning is who that was. So, we were young. I'm young. I hear what she's saying, and I know they used to talk about hags all the time. The hag will come ride you, whatever. But I did not understand the concept of fighting with a spirit, because it's like, how do you fight the spirit? You know, you can see it, yeah, but you're punching air. Like, I just didn't understand the concept. But anyway, so she proceeds to share stories of hags that would consistently try to jump on her, consistently tried to jump on me when I was a baby, and how she would always fight off these spirits. And so, as we're talking and we're eating breakfast, and we were eating grits with like sauteed or stewed mudfish. Every Saturday morning, breakfast consisted of grits, brown gravy, and onions that my grandmother made from scratch, and some stewed mudfish. That was breakfast every Saturday morning at my grandmother's house. Um, but as we were eating and talking, the first person who walked through the door was one of her longtime friends, one of her longtime buddies. He was an older dude from the community, and he would always be to her house like just about every day that I can remember. You know what I mean? Um, always just stopping by, sitting to talk. He was the first person through the door that morning, and guess what? His arm was in a sling, and she knew immediately, and she cussed him out immediately and banished him from her home. And he hadn't been back since. I learned two things from that story. All right. Sometimes our enemies can be so close that we can't see them physically, right? Sometimes who we think is our friend, they're really backstabbing us. Um, Envy shows up in a multitude of ways. Um, People usually come at you. When people come at you and you haven't done anything to them, it's usually out of jealousy or envy or something. Like that's usually rooted in that. Keep those things in mind. So always be aware of the people around you and trust your instinct, like trust your gut, because your spirit knows. Your spirit always knows, and you have to trust it. For those of you who don't know what a hag is or may not be familiar with that, um, modern day terminology for that, medical terminology for it is sleep paralysis. But where I'm from in my culture in the low country, a hag was a spirit or a witch that would come jump on you in your sleep and ride you. And what that felt like was it's like you're awake, but you're not awake. And it's like you're screaming and you're trying to move, but nobody can hear you and you can't move. And so, um, my grandmothers would always say, when that happens, you start praying the 23rd Psalm, you cuss it out, you command it, because what it is you must take authority. If you get scared, that spirit is going to feed off of that emotion, because fear is one of the lowest vibrations. So if you get scared, then the fear is going to multiply. And that spirit knows it has you. And so it will continue to torment you or whatever. But if when that happens, you begin to take authority because you have authority, you can command it to leave, you can banish it. Um, be mindful in your sleep. Always pray prayers of protection and do affirmations of protection before you go to sleep. um, because a lot of things take place in dream state, sleep state. All right, so that's just a little quick story I wanted to share, or that my ancestors wanted me to share, because yeah, I would have never thought about sharing it, but again, it just goes to show, just a deeper, more in-depth look, right, into the beliefs of those um, who I come from, and the things that we grew up hearing. And I'm sure y'all got y'all own versions of a similar story. You know what I mean? The spirit may not be called a hag where you're from. Um, it may be called something else. But I am like curious and interested to hear other stories of other people's experiences, and just stories from the elders in your family. Um, those kind of things have always intrigued me. And there was a time that I was not embarrassed to be intrigued by it, but I think maybe it was shame because it was so taboo and very much unaccepted, very much demonized um, in my family. Um, but it was like it was demonized, but in secret they were doing it. You know what I mean? They demonized it in public, but in secret, some of them were very heavy in it. Um, I also know that I have ancestors, grandmothers, great grandmothers, who did it, but of course back then they didn't call it hoodoo, right? They would say, "Oh, you got to go see the root man or the root woman," you know. Um, they didn't label things back then. And they were not very open with it because they had to hide it within what was widely known and accepted, and that was Christianity. And so I guess I wouldn't say, well, yeah, I'll keep it like that. Publicly, it was demonized, but they practiced heavy in secret. Um, and that's a lot of people. And so just be careful as you're moving about out here. Um, discern everything and everyone. Okay. Um, and that's all I got, y'all. I'll be back later. I know it's been a minute since I've posted a reading. I have been getting downloads, but I have kind of been in this space where spirit has me resting and recharging, um, in preparation for something. And I don't know what that something is, but I am being obedient. Um, but this week, I'm getting back to posting videos. I will be starting the two other channels this week. One will be for tarot, the other will be where I will be sharing information with you. As I learn things, I share those things. Um, and also sharing the things that I already know. So that'll be more of a mentoring channel, a teaching channel. So those things will be launched this week. You guys will be notified. I will post it in the communities tab. So stay tuned for that. I look forward to continuing this journey with all of you guys, and I look forward to continuing to grow and glow with all of you. Until next time, peace.